Welcome to the lecture series of Principle of Electrical Engineering. Dear students, we were discussing about the transformer. In this lecture, we will discuss about the construction of a single phase transformer. As you know that transformers used in practice are extremely large variety depending upon the end use. In addition to the transformers used in power system, in transmission and distribution, a large number of special transformers are in use in different applications like electronic supplies, furnaces, traction system, etc. So we can say that the application of a transformer cover a wide range of spectrum. But for this course, the focus is on the power transformer only. The principle of operation of these transformers is the same, but their requirements are different. In power transformer of small sizes, we can use air-cooled system, while a large transformer we are forced to use oil-cooled system. So you can have a feel of how the transformer construction changes with the rating of the transformer. As one of the major part of a transformer is its core, and which is made up of magnetic material. So these machine, that is the transformer, are highly material intensive equipments and are designed to match the applications for best operating conditions. Hence the constructional detail of the transformer changes as per the requirement of the application. So this brings a very large variety in their constructional features. But if we talk about the main components of a transformer, we can say that the transformer constitutes of three main components. Very first component is the core of the transformer. The second component is the winding, that is winding of the transformer. And the third component constitutes of the cooling system of the transformer. So depending upon the application, the constructional features and the property of the material used may vary, but the main component remains the same. That is, every transformer has a core. The construction of the core can vary. For example, for a high rating transformer, we may use iron core transformer, but maybe for a small rating transformer, we can use air as a core. Similarly, the windings arrangement and the material of the winding may vary depending upon the rating of the transformer and the application of the transformer. The same is with the cooling system. For a small rating transformer, we may use air-cooled system, whereas for large transformer or high rating transformer, we have to use force cooling system, maybe force oil cooling system or force air cooling system. But you will find that in all the transformer we have three main components that remains the same. All transformer have core, all transformer have winding, all transformer have a cooling system. Now we will discuss more about the core of a transformer. The core of a transformer is basically provide support to the winding, and it is also responsible to provide the path to the flux, that is the flux which is required to induce the voltage in the associated winding. Let us have a look on the core, simple arrangement of core and the transformer. If this is the core and we have primary and secondary windings, so this core is basically a supporting structure which provide support to the winding, and it also provide the path to the flux, that is this flux. It provide a path to the flux, that is a low reluctance path. So we can say that core of a transformer is basically a supporting structure which provides the path to the flux that is, it provides path to the flux, that is this flux, path to the flux. Now if you look at this statement, that is, it provides a path to the flux, it means this path should be of low reluctance path so that the losses get reduced. Therefore we can say that the transformer core must be made up of highly permeable material. So we can write that transformer core is basically made up of highly permeable material. If we talk about the relative permeability, then you will observe that the relative permeability, that is mu r over 1000, is already achieved by present day material used, and the material generally used for the iron core of a transformer is silicon steel in the form of thin lamination. Silicon steel in the form of thin laminations is basically used for the core material. So we can say that this core is basically made up of silicon steel sheets that are stacked together and form the 3D structure like this. So you can say that the core is formed by stacking the laminated sheets together to form a solid structure, and the reason for the lamination of the sheets is to reduce the core losses. So you will study later on the core losses constitute of eddy current loss and hysteresis loss, and you will see that due to the lamination eddy current loss reduces, therefore the core losses also reduces. So you can write core is formed by stacking the lamination, that is the laminated sheets together. So this is how the core of the transformer is made. So as far as the material of the core is concerned, we are now very much clear that the material of the core should have high permeability, and the high permeable material are basically silicon steel, and these silicon steels are stacked together to form the core of the transformer, and these silicon steel are first laminated in order to reduce the losses in the transformer. Now we will discuss the different type of geometry of the core that are used in the single phase transformer. So if we talk about the geometry of a single phase transformer core, then we can classify the construction of the core into two categories. The first one is the core type structure, and the second one is the shell type structure. In the core type structure, that is this structure, the winding surrounds the core, that is we have a core over here, and the winding are basically wrapped around the core. Okay, so the example of a single phase core type structure is shown over here. We have two windings, lower voltage winding and higher voltage winding. Lower voltage winding are placed adjacent to the core, and the higher voltage windings are placed on the lower voltage winding in concentric cylindrical shape. This arrangement of winding may vary. Right now we are discussing about the construction of the core. So the core type transformer is like this, whereas the shell type transformer is shown here. In this, the windings are placed in the middle limb of the core, and the core basically provide a shell to the windings. If you look at the cross section of this core, this cross section is basically a square type of cross section, but if the conductors, that is the winding conductors, are very thin, that is for a small rating transformer we have very thin winding conductors, so we can easily wrap this winding around this square shaped core. But the issue is, if the winding conductors are not so thin, then the cross section of the winding conductors are more, due to which if we try to wrap the windings across the core, then the bending at the corner will be very difficult. So in order to avoid that bending stress at the corner, what we will do is we will try to modify the cross section of the core and try to make it much closer to the circular shape like this, so that we can easily wrap the winding across the core. So this will reduce the stress on the winding conductors. So for higher rating core, the cross section is like this, and for lower rating voltage transformers, the core cross section is like this. So if you look at the high rating of transformer, you will find the core structure like this. So this structure is basically provided to reduce the stress on the conductor. And if you look at the plane of this structure, that is, if you look this transformer construction from above, then you will find the structure like this, and this basically provides a circular structure of core, which helps in reducing the corner stresses on the winding. So we can say that as the rating of the transformer increases, the conductor size also increases, and flat conductors are preferred to round ones. To wind such conductors on the rectangular former is not only difficult, but introduce stresses in the conductor at the bend, as I just discussed. From this we can say that it is better to use a circular cross-section core for high rating transformer. It is due to this reason the stepped core construction becomes mandatory for the core of a large transformer. In this figure, you can see a typical step core construction. When the core size increases, it becomes very difficult to cool the core, and for this purpose, cooling ducts have to be provided in the core in order to reduce the temperature of the core. Just now we discussed about the material of the core and the structure of the core, that is the geometry of the core. Now we will try to look into the laminations that are required to form a core type of core of a transformer. This core type structure can be obtained by using different types of laminations. For example, we can use L type of lamination, or O type of lamination, or C and I type of lamination. So what we will do is we will use large number of L type of lamination, and we stack together all the L type of lamination like this. Similarly, we stack together different L type of lamination like this, and we place the windings in first limb and then place in second limb, and then we connect the core in order to obtain the core type of structure. The same can be obtained by using C and I type of lamination. We stack together the C type of lamination first, and we place the winding over here and the winding over here, and then we close the upper end by using I type of lamination. In this way we can obtain a core type of structure. The same can be obtained by using O type of structure. Now let us have a look on the shell type of transformer. This is a real picture of a shell type of a transformer, and this is the core of the shell type of a transformer. In the central limb, the winding is placed around the central limb. If you look at the elevation of the transformer, you will find the elevation like this. If you look from the top, then you will find the structure like this. Central winding, central limb is either a square shape, either is of square shape or is of circular shape. If the transformer is of low voltage rating, then we can use a square shape, and if the transformer is of high voltage rating, then we use a circular shape type of structure. As I told you earlier, that the core is made up of different laminated silicon sheets. So here also we have different laminated silicon sheets that are stacked together to form a shell type of structure. If we talk about the design of the lamination, then in shell type of transformer, there are two types of lamination used. The first one is E and I type, and the second one is E and E type. In E and I type, one part of the lamination is of E structure and the other part is of I structure. So in E structure, we place large number of laminations together and form a solid structure like this, and we place the winding in the central limb, primary winding and secondary winding, and close the structure by placing E type of lamination. In E and E type, both the part of the laminations are of E shape. First we place the winding over here, primary winding and secondary winding, then we place this upper part to close the structure. So one of the important thing is that we must be very careful about this air gap between the two parts of the limb, because this core is basically providing a low reluctance path to the flux, and we know that the reluctance of the air is very high as compared to the iron core. It is about 1,000 times more than the iron core. So if we have, for example, an air gap of 1 millimeter, and the reluctance of that air gap is almost equals to the reluctance of 1 meter iron core, so which is very high, and this will leads to the losses in the core. So in order to avoid this, what we will do, we will try to minimize the air gap as much as we can. For that, sometime we overlap the laminations like this. The first lamination is like this, second is this, third is this, fourth is this, fifth is this, and the other, this is the top part, and other top we can place like this. So as far as the core of the transformer is concerned, we just discussed the material used in the core, and we discussed different types of core, that is the geometry of the core, and we discussed the different types of lamination used in shell type core and core type structure of the core. Now we will discuss another important component of the transformer, that is winding of the transformer. If we talk about a single phase transformer, say a single phase transformer usually consists of two windings. One winding is the primary winding and the other winding is called a secondary winding. The winding which is called a primary winding is basically the winding which is responsible for the creation of flux, and this winding, that is primary winding, is connected to the voltage source, whereas the secondary winding is a winding where the voltage is induced. So if we have, for example, a core type of transformer and we have a core like this, then we have one winding over here, we have another winding over here. So if the source is connected at this winding, then we designate this winding as a primary winding. And why? Because due to this source, current start flowing in the winding, and because of that current, a flux is established in the core. Once that flux start flowing in the core, and that flux linked with the other winding, voltage get induced in the winding. So the voltage is induced in this winding, therefore we call this winding as a secondary winding. So now it is very clear to all of you that a primary winding is a winding which is connected to the voltage source, and is responsible for the creation of the flux or for the generation of the flux, whereas the secondary winding is a winding where the voltage is induced. If the secondary winding voltage is less than that of the primary winding, then we call that this type of transformer as a step down transformer. If the secondary winding voltage is more than the primary winding voltage, then we call that transformer as a step up transformer. So in a step up transformer, you can say that if V1 is the primary voltage and V2 is the secondary voltage, then V2 is greater than V1. This type of transformer is basically a step up transformer. And it is very interesting to note that a step down transformer can be made a step up transformer by making the lower voltage winding its primary winding. So if we make the lower voltage winding of a step down transformer its primary winding, then you will find that at the secondary winding we start getting more voltage and it becomes, or it start behaving like a step up transformer. Hence it is more appropriate to designate the winding as a high voltage winding or a low voltage winding instead of primary winding and secondary winding. So a winding of a transformer can also be designated as a high voltage winding and a low voltage winding. Now, a winding with more number of turns will be a high voltage winding, and the current on the high voltage side will be lower as VI product is constant. Since the VI is constant at both the end, that is V1 I1 is equals to V2 I2. So if V2 is more, then obviously I1 is less, so that the product remains the same. Also, the high voltage winding needs to be insulated in order to withstand high voltage across it, and high voltage winding also needs more clearance to the core or the body of the transformer. That's why you have seen that when we place the windings, then we place the winding, that is high voltage winding, at the outer end of the lower voltage winding. This provides more clearance with the core of the transformer. Now let us have a look on the type of windings. So based on the placement of high voltage and low voltage windings, winding can be classified as concentric winding, that is concentric coils winding, and sandwich coils winding. If we talk about the concentric coil winding, then in this type of winding arrangement, first we place a low voltage winding, and at the outer end of the low voltage winding we place a high voltage winding in a concentric cylindrical shape, and the core of the winding passes through the center of the winding. Whereas in sandwich type of winding, first we make the layer of one type of winding, for example low voltage winding, then we make the layer of higher voltage winding, then again we make the layer of lower voltage winding. So in an alternate manner we place different type of winding and we put together all the windings on the limb like this. So these are two types of windings. Concentric windings are basically used in core type of transformer, where half of the low voltage winding is placed on one limb, the half of the high voltage winding on the same limb, and the remaining half of both the windings are placed on the other limb of the transformer. That is, if we have a core type of transformer, we place half of the lower voltage winding and another half of the lower voltage winding we place over here, and we connect both the windings like this. So this is one end of the lower voltage winding, this is the another end of the lower voltage winding. Now in concentric fashion again we will wrap higher voltage winding above this lower voltage winding, and half of the higher voltage winding we place over here. Again we connect both the winding, both the half, to make it full winding. We have one terminal of high voltage winding here, we have another terminal of high voltage winding. Let us have a look on concentric and sandwich type of winding that is used in core type of structure. So you can see that in a core type of structure over here, we first place a low voltage winding, and then in a concentric fashion we place a high voltage winding at the outer surface of the low voltage winding. So this way the placement of higher voltage winding at the outer surface of the low voltage winding provides a clearance from the core and also reduces the stress in the conductor of the high voltage winding. Now if we want to place the sandwich type of winding in a core type of structure, then we will place like this. We will place low voltage winding, then high voltage winding, then again low voltage winding. In this fashion we can place a sandwich type of winding in the core type of structure. But as I told you earlier, the concentric winding are usually used in core type of structure, whereas in shell type of structure we use sandwich type of winding. Let us have a look on the shell type of core winding arrangement. So if we try to put a concentric coil type of winding, then we can put the winding like this. As if we try to do a sandwich type of winding, we can do the winding like this. This is a top view of both type of windings in a shell type of transformer. Now we will discuss the insulation used or provided in the windings. Insulation is a very important part of the transformer. Good insulation will decide the reliability of the transformer. If the insulation is not provided properly, then the chances of failure increases. The insulation used in case of electrical conductors in a transformer is varnish in dry type of transformer, or you can say that in small transformers. But if we talk about the large transformer, then in large transformer the conductors are insulated using unimpregnated paper or cloth. And what we will do is we will immerse the whole core winding assembly in a tank containing transformer oil. And once the whole core containing the windings is immersed in the transformer oil, then what will happen? The oil, due to the porous nature of the insulation around the conductor, oil reaches the conductor surface, and what will happen? This oil extract the heat from the conductor, and in this way the oil serves two purposes. The first one is it provides the insulation, and the second one is it helps in extracting the heat from the conductor. The conductor insulation may be called minor insulation as the voltage required to be withstand is not high, whereas the major insulation is between the windings. The oil used in the transformer tank should be free from moisture and other contamination. This is because if there is a moisture in the oil, then what will happen? The probability of breakdown due to the presence of moisture increases, and this will result in the breakdown of the insulation. So you can see that the insulation is very important part of a transformer. Better the insulation, higher will be the reliability of the transformer. So from this we can say that the properties of a transformer oil plays an important role, and the selection of the transformer oil should be based on certain parameters. And if we talk about those parameters, then we can say that these properties are insulating property of the transformer, viscosity of the transformer oil, purity and sludge formation in the transformer oil, acidity in the transformer oil, and flash point and fire point of the transformer oil. These are the properties that are required to be looked into before selecting an oil for transformer application. Since insulation property is one of the most important property, and that property decides the withstand voltage of the transformer. Viscosity will decide how easily the transformer oil can reach the conductors in different points in the transformer, and will be able to extract more and more heat. Purity and sludge formation will decide that how long the transformer oil can be used. If the sludge formation starts in the transformer oil, then this will reduces the reliability of the transformer. So these are the very important properties that are required to be looked into before selecting an oil of the transformer. So this is all about the constructional detail of a single phase transformer.